DarkViperAU is one of the most pathetic and full of himself creators to ever exist. I mean, everything that this guy says, he just has to act like he is above it all. He is just the smartest person of all time, and nothing he does can ever be incorrect or wrong. It's genuinely insane to see. I mean, I've never seen someone react this way to every single drama and just thinking that they are the best person ever and that everyone else is just scum on the bottom of their shoe. I haven't really talked about this guy on my channel before, to be honest, or even I don't think much on live streams. This is my first time talking about him, but my opinion of him is just absolutely in the gutter. I mean, the guy just acts completely insane, and he tries to act like everyone that talks about him or everyone that criticizes him is out to get him. They're not really listening to what he has to say, and there's just no excuse. It's just sad. So I saw that Nicholas DiOrio made this tweet on Twitter talking about DarkViperAU. He brought up that DarkViper posted on the Viper Rambles channel, and he titled it, "Why Do Unhappy Losers Live for Drama?" Showing XQC, Willie Mac, Chud Logic, I guess this is Hassan, and just yapping and talking about drama YouTubers. And Nicholas DiOrio screenshotted this and gave a comment where he said, "Isn't it weird this guy turtles and cries when he gets criticized, but pokes every few months when he's not in the news?" And someone quote tweeted Nick saying, "Lamau, DarkViper, why poke the bears then?" And then DarkViper quote tweeted this, responding with a wall of text. He said, "If this is a serious question, let me yap at you for engagement because my PC is broken. It is at least somewhat interesting. There are no bears with any interest in me. There never have been. I just keep offending the dregs of this online ecosystem, the whiny drama children. I do this simply by existing and, rightly, like most creators, thinking them dumb. Those who buy their lies and stupidity are not my audience, but I do sincerely pity them." Wow, he's so awesome and just so intelligent and above all of it. Even though this is directly quote tweeting a video specifically talking about, drama people, he's just above all of it. He does not involve himself in this. This is just the big drama ecosystem that he just exists and everyone hates him. Of course, obviously. Nicholas DiOrio is a grifter. He has openly said that all of what he does is for show. He doesn't actually believe these things. He just knows what a particular audience wants to hear, and he irrationally hates me. It is why he has farther stated he hates to be reminded that I exist, while also following every utterance I make and tweeting about me literally hundreds of times. I am his obsession. That video has almost no views. He is mentally unwell and projects this on me instead of getting help. When he screen captures these videos and lies about their contents, he similarly knows those who follow him won't watch and don't really care what is true regardless. Again, DarkViperAU is not in the news cycle. No one was talking about him. There's been so much drama since the DarkViperAU stuff happened months ago. 2024 has been one of the biggest years for the commentary community, one of the biggest years for content in general. So this idea that somehow Nick is following every utterance I make and tweeting about me literally hundreds of times, it's ridiculous. I mean, nobody was talking about you until you decided to make a video addressing everything. Why do unhappy losers live for drama? I mean, you're literally poking the bear. That is quite literally what you're doing. He's just living in delusion. While Nick's self-hatred has led him to lie non-stop about anyone he believes is better than himself, and often in creative ways, these videos of mine specifically come from a channel dedicated to my rambles. I will shift from my views on behavioral psychology to the size of my and how long it takes to eat soup. Wow, just the amazing intelligence of DarkViperAU. Incredible. It is largely run by my editors and are not serious videos. They get few views relative to my actual work and are usually ancient by the time they release. They are a side project that just break even monetarily speaking. I tweet in a large part to make content for that channel, and I will be reading this into a video for it. Hello, future me. And reading this part of the post, is it really a flex to say that you run a channel at break even? That just sounds like you suck. It sounds like you suck at what you're doing, and you're just wasting your time and money on something. It's not actually endearing or cool to say that you are just, running a channel that's break even. It doesn't really get any views, and I just kind of like to yap and say things. That's not endearing. This has been something people try to say on the internet for years, and no one ever really buys it or thinks it's cool. Usually it's said by people like Boogie2988, Review Tech USA, people who are lolcows. My videos are not that serious, and if you take it seriously, you got a problem, man. You just have a big problem if you take my videos seriously. I mean, I don't even get views and I don't even make money. Therefore, that means that my word has no meaning at all. And the words I say shouldn't be taken seriously because apparently it all revolves around view count and how much money you make. and if you're break even, right? That's really what matters here. And if it's a side project, you rambling and saying that everyone who makes drama content are losers, if that's a side project, no one else is allowed to ever take it seriously in any way or to put any kind of meaning on your words at all, or respond to you as if you're actually a credible figure. It's this weird thing he does where he goes back and forth between having the largest ego in the world and then acting as if somehow what he says is really meaningless and no one should ever take it seriously. It's just such a strange imbalance of the way his mind operates. This shit-flinging for content that Nick and his fellow kids need to play for relevancy is a game I can't really win. Even when I can ignore how pathetic it all feels, I usually can't sensibly dedicate enough time to it. Literally everything else I do is more rewarding and thus more worth the time. Even what I know of Nick has been given to me by my mods and viewers and clips and screen captures. This is what makes me different from them. I create things of value, so I don't need to whine or lie for engagement. Yes, truly the value of talking about the size of your cock and how long it takes to eat soup. I mean, just the most incredibly valuable and monumental, just hyper-intelligent content comes from DarkViperAU. He is just truly above it all. Just the smartest man imaginable. I mean, everyone is just below him. You cannot possibly imagine just being at his level. Can you imagine needing to cry day in and day out about stuff you don't really care about just so other kids will acknowledge your existence? Nothing more sad in this ecosystem. I have found out there is no downside in just laughing at these idiots passively. But I do have stray thoughts about these things, so they end up on that channel. It is neither interesting or calculated, it is just yapping. Welcome to social media, where we can assume Nick is salivating at the idea of tweeting, "OMG, I can't believe DarkViperPU wrote another essay. I am giving him this boon of the acknowledgement he so very clearly craves, so he can feel like a somebody for just a moment." I feel like these brief moments where he can stop hating himself as much as he hates everyone else are the only things keeping him alive. I act to literally save a life, even if by every metric that life is not worth saving. I am just that nice of a person. I am going back to fixing my PC now. That story will also be in Rambles. Okay, I mean, if the guy's playing some super hyper-ironic character where he's actually not this insanely just full of himself, but he's pretending to be, I have to give him props because I would never expect to see something like this unironically. Someone talk about themselves so highly and not be trolling would just be fucking delusional. But I really don't think that this is ironic given that he always talks like this. This is just basically his personality. I just can't imagine that he's irony posting here. It's absolutely absurd and ridiculous. And it's crazy to me to say that everything that DarkViperAU does is actually just meaningless and it's just yapping and it has no standing in anything. But everything that Nick Diorio does is actually just extremely passionate and just fueled with unbridled hatred that he just cannot help but talk about. It seems like projection to me, unironically just major projection. Is it not possible to you, Dark Viper, that people might just be yapping on the commentary side too? Talking about how full of yourself you are and talking about how delusional and insane you are and how you sound in your tweets? I don't know if that's a concept for you, but it clearly seems like it's not. Everyone else in the world except for yourself is obviously just obsessive and crazy, and you're just a yapper, you're just a talker, you like to just say things for fun that have no real meaning and no one should ever take you seriously. And your video has no views anyway, why should anyone care? I mean, it's just utterly pathetic, and the mindset is just weak. I mean, you sound weak, you sound pathetic, there's no value here to be given. I mean, it's just a total L. But this guy has, again, always been like this. He's just a weird worm baby that just freaks out at everything. He cuts off all of his friends. I remember the whole drama with him and Karl Jobst. They basically started over quite literally nothing. I mean, DarkViperAU was completely unjustified. And for context, before I read these tweets by Karl Jobst, DarkViperAU abuses the copyright system. He's attempted to strike down multiple times people who react to his content in completely fair use. He's a complete crybaby, and the way he acts about things is just totally pathetic. But in regards to the Karl Jobst story, back in April of this year, Karl Jobst tweeted out, "I have known DarkViperAU since 2018. When we were both small streamers trying to grow. Over the years, I believed we had become friends. I respected him, met him multiple times in person, and I specifically brought my wife to a creator party because I wanted her to meet him. I valued him as a person. Recently, without notice and without warning, he banned me and removed me from all socials. This hurt me deeply. I reached out to ask why, and he never even bothered to reply and let me know what I had done. Dark Viper will spend his days arguing with random haters online, but when it comes to someone who cared about him and just wanted to know what I had done to hurt him, he could not care less. At this point, I don't care to know what his grievance is, but I do know that what he did to me was a terrible thing to do, and my opinion of him could now not be lower." And Dark Viper responded, I would appreciate you respect my privacy on this matter. This did not happen recently. It was a month ago. If I wanted such things to be public, I would have made them so. It does not take much to lose me as a friend, but this is my decision and of no one's business but my own. Karl retweeting and promoting such a false tweet from some of the worst aspects of the online ecosystem is not surprising to me, but it is not appreciated. Speaking of that retweeted tweet, I spoke of some of the recent goings-on vaguely in a ramble that is yet to release. While I am stupidly willing to debase myself and roll around in the mud with these degenerates from time to time, a line is crossed when such things are brought into the real world. I will speak no more on these matters, or engage with any of these people beyond striking any future reactions. The safety of myself and those I care about is paramount. He speaks like just a cringy, guy pretending to be a villain or pretending to be some kind of hero. I mean, he speaks quite literally like a lolcow. The safety of myself and those I care about is paramount. Get over yourself. I mean, Jesus Christ, my skin crawls reading that. Karl Jobst then responded saying, DarkViper won't say the reason publicly because it is insanely petty and he knows it. I didn't quote tweet that tweet because I agreed with it, which I don't. I quote tweeted that tweet because it shows that DarkViper will waste immense time and energy on people who hate him, but in my case, someone close to him who he knows in the real world and who would actually be affected by his actions, he won't even bother spending 1 minute to let me know why he seized a 6-year friendship. This is because DarkViper is not a nice person in real life, in the real world. It is easy to seem moral when you live alone, have no family to support, have no relationship, and just argue philosophy with online trolls. But when faced with someone hurting directly in front of him, he cannot do the moral thing because he is an emotional toddler. He continued saying, I do believe I know why DarkViperAU banned me, so I'll just say it, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. At the end of February, I released a video which had a StarForge PC sponsor on it. Immediately after I released this video, DarkViper banned me. StarForge is partly owned by Asmongold, who DarkViper doesn't like because of reaction content. So DarkViper banned me because I promoted Asmon's company. I had very recently spoken with DarkViper on the phone before this, and we were friends right up until this video. It certainly has nothing to do with drama DarkViper's Reddit is dredging up from years ago. DarkViper and I have even discussed this in person together. For my part, I'm getting sued and I have a family to support and consider, so there was no way I was going to turn down the financial security of this sponsor deal and a much needed PC upgrade. Naturally, DarkViper didn't enter the equation when it came to accepting this deal. I think the pettiness of DarkViper's actions is why he couldn't bring myself to tell me the reason. DarkViper also made other tweets saying things like, I didn't consider dissociation noteworthy or cause for a Twitter tirade. It's why I never mentioned it. It's clear we viewed our relationship differently. He's just so above it all, everyone. Just everything he says, I feel like it's impossible for him not to say something without acting like he's above it all. I don't know if it's possible for him to be humble. I think it's just genuinely does not compute in his brain. Everything he says must have a hint that he's above it all. I genuinely challenge him to try to say anything, to criticize himself or to say that he's not just above everything else and that he's just so awesome and, everything he does is correct. He continued, this feels like schoolyard nonsense that I want nothing to do with. I will speak for the curious, as Karl seems quite keen to fire off tweet after tweet until the end of time. And then now with that context, going back to the original drama between Nick and DarkViper, Nick responded to this giant paragraph that DarkViper wrote, just saying, you could get a new/better PC from StarForge PCs, owned by renowned React streamer Asmongold. Game on. I mean, holy shit. Dude, you're gonna give him PTSD. And then DarkViper, when he sees the word Asmongold, this killed me when I saw it at first. And so yeah, I mean, this guy sucks. He's always sucked. He's a loser. He's just totally pathetic. I've never really talked about him on my channel because I just never really felt the need to. But seeing this tweet, it's just a reminder of how absolutely lolcow-like he is. He just acts like a weird spurg. I mean, there's just no excuse for the way that he talks. It's genuinely impossible for him to not act like he's above it all. It's encoded into him to just have the biggest ego of all time while not having anything to show for it. So, I mean, the guy sucks. But that's all I really got to say about this, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.